Hey everyone, today we're going to talk about another one of my favorite topics, and that is Cherokee legend. And today's Cherokee legend is called The Man Who Married the Thunder Sister, and this story was sent in by a supporter. And if you would like to send me a story, whether it's a story you know or a story you've dreamed up, feel free to join our community and send me whatever you want. So, just like with all of the other Native American myths and legends, there are many different versions of any given story. So, the details may vary depending on which storyteller you hear it from. But today I'll be sharing the version that was sent in. So, without further ado, let's get into the story. Long ago, before time began, the world was inhabited by spirits and humans. One day, while walking through the forest, a young man named Kanati saw an extremely beautiful woman sitting on a nearby rock. He couldn't help but stare at her because she had never seen anything so beautiful. She was dark as night, with long flowing black hair and eyes that twinkled like stars. As he stood there staring at her, though, she disappeared. The next day, he went back to the exact same spot, hoping that he would see her again, but she didn't show up. So he decided to sit on that rock for the next 7 days and 7 nights, subsisting only on nuts and berries that he found in the forest. On the 7th day, as he sat there dejected, wondering if he would ever get to see the beautiful woman again, she appeared before him, looking even more beautiful than he remembered. She asked him why he was there and what he wanted. And he told her that he had been sitting there for 7 days because he had seen her and had fallen deeply in love with her. She then revealed herself to be the Thunder Sister, the daughter of the Great Spirit who had been watching him from above. And she said that she was pleased with his steadfast commitment to her and that she would marry him. And that's exactly what happened. They were married in a beautiful ceremony that lasted 7 days and 7 nights. And they lived together in a big house near a lake. The Thunder Sister had 3 rules that the man had to abide by. If he kept these rules, he would live a life of happiness and prosperity. But if he broke them, she would turn him into stone. Rule No. 1. He was not allowed to touch her ironing board. Rule No. 2. He was not allowed to look inside her bedroom. And Rule No. 3. He was not allowed to go anywhere near her fire. One day, the Thunder Sister went out to gather herbs and medicines for the tribe, and she told her husband to stay in the house and take care of their 2 children. While she was gone, he started to feel very lonely, and he started thinking about how beautiful his wife was, and he decided that he wanted to look at her while she was sleeping. So he went into the bedroom, and there she was, lying in bed, fast asleep. And as he watched her, he noticed that she had a pair of beautiful wings on each side of her body. After seeing this, he knew that he had made a terrible mistake and that he had to leave the bedroom before he was turned into stone. So he ran as fast as he could out of the house and jumped into the lake. The Thunder Sister, hearing the splash, came running as fast as she could. And when she saw that her husband had broken the third rule, she angrily told him that he had to be turned into stone. And with that, she waved her magic wand over the lake, and he instantly became a huge boulder. Now, when the Thunder Sister returned home, she gave their children all of the herbs and medicines that she had gathered, and then she went to sleep. And the two children, seeing that their father wasn't around, started asking each other where he was. Finally, the little boy answered, "Father has become a mountain in the lake." Hearing this, the Thunder Sister knew that she had made a terrible mistake. She shouldn't have turned her husband into a stone, no matter how many rules he broke. And so, the next morning, she took her children down to the lake and had them climb onto the boulder that was now their father. And then she waved her magic wand over the boulder, and with that, he turned back into a man. She then told her husband that he could never break her rules again, but that she would forgive him this time. And they all lived happily ever after. Okay, so obviously this story is meant to teach us about the importance of following rules and listening to your elders, because if the main character hadn't listened to his wife and stayed out of her bedroom, he wouldn't have been turned into a stone. However, I think there's also a bit of a feminist message in here too, because despite being married to a man, the Thunder Sister is still the one who holds all of the power in this relationship. Like, she's literally the daughter of the Great Spirit, so she's way more powerful than any man in this story. And even though she does eventually relent and turn the man back into a human at the end, it's only after she's made it clear that she is the boss in this relationship. Like, don't mess with me or else type thing. Also, this is another story in the giant catalogue of Native American mythology that features a relationship between a human and a supernatural being. In this case, a human and a thunder spirit. But in other stories, I've read about human beings marrying deer, squirrels, bears, rabbits, you name it. And while these stories differ greatly in their specifics, they all share one common theme, which is that the human in the story always ends up learning some kind of valuable lesson by the end. Sometimes that lesson is something like, don't be greedy or selfish. Like in the story about the man who married the deer woman. Sometimes it's something like, don't disrespect the natural world, like in the story about the man who killed the Thunderbird. And sometimes it's just, don't be stupid, like in most of the trickster stories featuring Coyote. This story is no different in that regard. The man learns the hard way that if you can't trust your wife, then you really shouldn't be married to her in the first place. I think this is one of those universal lessons that we all learn in life. Though you can have all the money and success in the world, but if you can't trust the person that you're with, then none of that matters. And I think the author of this particular story did a good job of making that point. Clear beyond the surface level, this is clearly a story about a man who loved his wife so much that he was willing to risk everything to spend eternity with her. And in a way, I kind of admire that about him. He was willing to give up his own happiness for the sake of love. That's a rare thing indeed. That's all for today, friends. I hope you enjoyed this episode of Native American Mythology Explained. If you did, please like and subscribe. It helps the channel immensely. And I would also like to take a moment to say a special thank you to our supporters. Your generosity helps me make this channel full-time, and I appreciate each and every one of you. If you would like to support the channel, we've got links to our membership down below. In the meantime, I'll see you next time.